Good morning, Musalaki University, and happy Thanksgiving. Our school's Archmatron of Propriety and Ceremony, the Venerable Miss Boobless, has released her yearly Thanksgiving newsletter detailing everything from the proper ruling in the case of a tie during the gladiatorial combat of seating. Hint, if you're not a winner, you're a loser. To how to fold a napkin into one of those cute little animals. The newsletter's main focus this year was the ever-daunting cornucopia, the often overlooked centerpiece of Thanksgiving dinner. Serving as a symbolic representation of nature, they are available for purchase in this school's store. The newsletter also provided detailed instructions on how to make your own cornucopia using scrap metal, irradiated soil, liquid nitrogen, and gourds. Listeners, I would like to give you all a reminder on proper place setting at the Thanksgiving table, because nobody seems to get this right. It goes napkin, salad fork, dinner fork, plate, knife, spoon, soup spoon, and then the traditional shank for when you want to make sure someone passes you the roasted potatoes. It's flu season, listeners, and you know what that means. Please remember to get vaccinated, not only for your own health, but for the health of others. The University Healthcare Plan provides all students with free vaccines to protect community health. All you need to do is fill out a standard waiver and head over to the Student Health Center. Remember, ask to be vaccinated against the seasonal flu, as well as both strains of the zombie flu. If you contract the zombie flu, the university will be forced to expel you to protect community health. And now the weather. Winter is settling over Musalaki, marking the beginning of a wondrous time. Soon, there will be glistening snow, clean, crisp air, and a record of every individual's movements throughout campus as evidenced by the tracks on the ground. Winter marks a time, listeners, of winter sports, hill sledding, snowball fights, snowmen, and snow angels. And also of curling up in a nest of blankets in your dorm with a mug of hot chocolate or mulled cider and watching movies. Or bundled up in the coziest clothes you have and taking a short walk to the student center to chat and play games with that unique spirit of winter camaraderie that all of your schoolmates will share. Not all of Musalaki's students see the winter this way, however. Some students that hail from warmer parts, particularly California, which, as I understand, does not have a winter, are facing the changing seasons with more of a negative attitude. One of my first years is from California, and she is absolutely terrified. She told me once the snow starts, she is simply not going to leave her residence hall. What about classes, I asked. I'll Skype in or borrow someone's notes, she said. What about basic human necessities, I asked. Food? Clothes? I'm an experienced online shopper, she said. Don't worry, I'll have everything I need. I consider it more of a basic human necessity not to freeze to death or slip and die on black ice or get ripped to shreds by ice beasts. Listeners, while my friend's plans for winter is certainly the safest, I do not recommend it. Winter is supposed to be fun. And really, it doesn't get that cold. Trust me, you don't know the meaning of cold. If you have a warm down coat and a pair of warm waterproof boots with good traction, you will be fine. As for the ice beasts, I'm pretty sure that's just a myth made up to scare freshmen. The few disappearances we have each winter are easily attributable to other causes. Students and staff, let us not forget the holiday season is not only a time for us to enjoy the company of our friends, scattered family members, and the greater compound community, but is a holiday of remembrance. So, let us take a moment to look back on our roots. For example, take the original pilgrims to this great land, braving the harsh seas for their religious freedom. They stood for the values we prize today: pioneering spirit, family, independence, presumptuousness, colonialism, trickery, thievery, bloodshed, genocide, and oppression. Indeed, the swift and vile manner the first settlers stole, swindled, and murdered this land out of the hands of the intelligent and advanced hands of the native population continues to inform how our society functions today. Our completely functioning, peaceful, non-corrupt, or morally debased society. So let us feast. Let us toast to the horrors of the past as we slowly and diligently attempt to mold them into a beautiful fairy tale. Safe travels and well wishes from Musalaki Radio. Listeners, I've gotten a couple of complaints over the past few weeks that some nights after I leave the radio station, the channel begins broadcasting a continuous, high-pitched mechanical whine. I contacted station management about this, and they called in 2 different technicians to diagnose and fix the problem, but neither one could find anything wrong with the equipment. One of them guessed that our tower might be picking up interference from an old malfunctioning government satellite. Apparently, a lot of satellites have been behaving erratically since the government fell, leaving no one to calibrate and maintain them. There is one problem with this theory, listeners. I power down the transmitter every night when I leave the station. Even though dead airspace is no longer technically illegal since the FCC dissolved, it is still just common courtesy not to leave the transmitter on when you aren't broadcasting anything. So technically, there should be no signal broadcasting at all after my show ends, let alone a strange noise. Station management is looking into installing security cameras in the radio station to see if someone is breaking in and turning the transmitters back on. Just know, listeners, that we have heard your complaints, and we are working to resolve this issue as quickly as possible.
Good Morning Musalaki is a podcast created by the Tufts Podcast Network. GMM is directed by Aidan Brown and Sydney BC and written by Aidan Brown, Sydney BC, Giles Bullen, Miranda Fall, and Melissa Fato. The voice of GMM is Justice Washington, a current Tufts student and voice actor. Sounds used in the making of this episode are Out of the Skies, Under the Earth by Chris Zabriskie, and Is That You or Are You You, also by Chris Zabriskie, and Midori by Beat Culture. All of these songs can be found at freemusicarchive.org and were modified for this episode. See you next time, and thank you for listening.